Some stories begin with joy, but mine begins with fear that I did not understand until many years later. Even now, as I remember those days, my heart still feels heavy, because this journey did not start with choice. It started with birth, rules, and silence. This is not just my story. It is the story of many who were born into a path they never chose, yet were punished for questioning it. Before you continue, please comment and tell me where you are watching or reading from. Let us connect as one family, support one another, and continue to pray for each other wherever we are in the world. My name is Khalil Hassan. The year was 2011, and I was 12 years old. I was born into a Muslim family in a small community where religion was not just a belief, it was law, identity, and survival. From my earliest memory, Islam shaped every part of my life. It decided when I woke up, how I spoke, what I wore, and even what I was allowed to think. Each morning, the sound of prayer filled the air before the sun fully rose. I did not understand the words, but I repeated them, because everyone around me did. At home, my father led with strict discipline. My mother followed with quiet obedience. Love existed, but it was wrapped tightly inside rules and fear. As a child, I was taught that obedience meant safety. I was told that questioning was dangerous. I was shown that punishment followed disobedience, and silence protected life. These lessons were not spoken gently. They were enforced through angry looks, raised hands, and warnings about shame and hell. At school, religion followed me. Teachers mixed faith with education. If a child forgot a verse or made a mistake during recitation, punishment came quickly. Sometimes it was public embarrassment. Sometimes it was physical pain. I learned early that mistakes were not forgiven easily. At the mosque, elders watched closely. They noticed who prayed correctly, who lowered their eyes, and who asked too many questions. I learned to keep my thoughts inside my chest. Curiosity became something to hide. Still, even as a child, something inside me felt heavy. I felt fear more than peace. I felt pressure more than love. I tried hard to be good, to do everything right, but it never felt like enough. At home, I once hesitated during prayer. My father noticed. His face changed. He showed me anger mixed with disappointment. That moment taught me that belief was not optional, it was enforced. I saw others suffer too. A neighbor's son was beaten for skipping mosque. A girl down the street stopped attending school after rumors spread about her questioning faith. Fear traveled faster than kindness in our community. I began to understand that leaving Islam was not just about belief, it was about losing family, safety, and sometimes life itself. Even hearing stories of people who left was dangerous. Their names were spoken in whispers, followed by warnings. At night, I lay on my mat, staring into darkness, asking myself silent questions I was never allowed to speak. Why did faith feel like fear? Why did love come with threats? Why did God seem angry all the time? I did not have answers. I only had confusion. And though I did not know it then, the path ahead would cost me more than I could imagine. Family rejection, emotional wounds, and persecution that would leave scars both seen and unseen. This was only the beginning. Fear does not shout when it comes. It whispers, waits, and grows inside you until your heart feels too small to hold it. What I am about to share is the moment my quiet questions turned into danger, and my childhood began to slip away. I was 12 years old, and the questions started slowly. They did not come from pride or rebellion. They came during ordinary moments. I noticed them while washing my hands before prayer, while sitting on the cold floor of the mosque, while watching adults argue about faith, but never show kindness afterward. I began to wonder why God felt distant. I wondered why love was taught with fear. I wondered why mistakes brought pain instead of help. These thoughts stayed inside my head because I already knew what happened to children who spoke too freely. At school, religious lessons became heavier. The teacher watched us closely. He showed us anger when someone hesitated during recitation. He revealed that forgetting holy words meant weak faith. When my turn came, my voice shook. My mind went blank. The room felt smaller. After class, he kept me back. He told me my heart was not serious. He showed me disappointment in a way that felt sharp and cold. I stood there silently, feeling small, wishing I could disappear. That day, rumors began. Other boys avoided sitting near me. Some looked at me with suspicion. One of them told others that I asked strange questions. Another showed fear by stepping away from me during prayer. I felt alone in a room full of people. At home, things became worse. My father noticed I prayed faster than before. He revealed his anger without shouting. His silence felt heavier than noise. Later that evening, he showed me strict correction. It was not just physical pain, it was shame. He made me kneel while others watched. He wanted me to learn obedience. My mother cried quietly. She did not stop him. She showed me fear through her silence. That night, I learned that love could be powerless. The persecution did not stop there. At the mosque, elders watched me more closely. They showed me warning signs through their eyes. One of them told my father that I was becoming careless. Another revealed that children like me needed strong discipline before they became lost. Soon, my freedom disappeared. I was no longer allowed to play freely. I was taken straight home after school. My phone was checked. My books were searched. My thoughts felt trapped inside my head. I became careful even with my face, afraid that my expressions might betray me. One afternoon, I heard adults talking about people who left Islam. They showed hatred instead of sadness. They revealed stories of beatings, rejection, and disappearance. They made it clear that leaving was worse than death. I felt my stomach tighten. That night, I cried alone. I did not cry loudly. I buried my face in my mat so no one would hear me. I felt confused, afraid, and guilty for even thinking differently. I asked myself why searching for truth felt like a crime. From that moment, I understood persecution was not always chains or prison. Sometimes it was fear inside your own home. Sometimes it was being watched. Sometimes it was losing safety, trust, and childhood, all at once. I was still a child, but I was already learning how dangerous belief could be. And this was only the beginning. Some moments change you quietly, without noise, without warning, and without permission. This chapter begins with such a moment, the kind that looks small on the outside but shakes your whole world on the inside. I was still 12 years old, but my heart felt much older. By this time, fear had become normal to me. I woke up afraid of making mistakes. I slept afraid of my own thoughts. I learned how to hide confusion behind obedience. To everyone else, I looked like a good child. Inside, I felt broken. One afternoon, I was sent to buy food from a small shop far from my home. On my way back, rain started falling. I ran for shelter and stopped near a small building I had never entered before. People were inside, sitting calmly. No one shouted. No one watched with angry eyes. A man noticed me standing outside in the rain. He showed me kindness by giving me shelter. He revealed calm through his actions, not fear. I sat quietly at the back, afraid of being seen. Inside that place, I noticed something strange. People listened more than they spoke. They helped one another. I did not feel watched. I did not feel threatened. I felt safe, even though I did not understand why. Someone there showed me a book. He revealed that it spoke about love, forgiveness, and mercy. He did not pressure me. He did not warn me of punishment. He simply showed care. That confused me more than anger ever did. Later that week, I met a boy around my age near school. He noticed my sadness. He showed concern instead of suspicion. Over time, he revealed that he believed in Jesus Christ. He did not argue. He did not insult my background. He only showed peace through his behavior. I began to notice the difference. In Islam, I felt fear first, then duty. With Jesus, I noticed love first, then understanding. This difference stayed in my mind. It disturbed my sleep. It challenged everything I had been taught. But discovery came with danger. I became more careful. I hid my curiosity. I cleaned my tracks. Still, fear followed me. My hands shook whenever my father checked my things. My heart raced whenever elders looked at me too long. One day, my school bag was searched. A small paper fell out. It had words about Jesus written on it. I froze. The teacher's face changed. He revealed anger quickly. He showed the paper to others. The room became silent. That day, punishment was severe. I was beaten in front of my classmates, not just to hurt my body, but to shame my spirit. They wanted others to learn from my pain. I was called confused. I was labeled dangerous. I felt stripped of dignity. When I got home, things became worse. My father was informed. He showed rage mixed with fear. He believed I had brought shame. He revealed that curiosity was betrayal. I was locked inside for days. Food was limited. Silence became my only companion. At night, I cried quietly again. I felt torn between fear and hope. I felt guilty for wanting love instead of terror. I felt weak for being drawn to kindness. Yet, even in pain, something inside me felt alive for the first time. The persecution was no longer just emotional. It became physical, social, and constant. Friends avoided me, neighbors whispered, adults watched me like a threat. Still, despite everything, the image of that peaceful love would not leave me. I was being punished for searching for truth, and I was beginning to understand the cost of following Jesus, even before fully knowing him. This was the chapter where fear and faith collided. There is a moment when fear stops protecting you and starts destroying you. This chapter begins at that moment, the point where staying silent hurt more than standing firm. By the time this chapter of my life began, I was still a child, but the world no longer treated me like one. The tension in my home had changed. It was no longer hidden. It sat in the air like smoke. My father watched me closely. My mother avoided my eyes. They both knew something inside me was shifting, even though I never spoke it out loud. Word had spread. People in the community began to treat me differently. Neighbors stopped greeting me. Children I once played with were warned to stay away. Their parents showed fear through their actions. I became a problem they wanted to avoid. At the mosque, the elders no longer ignored me. They revealed suspicion through their looks. One of them showed authority by calling my father aside. After that day, home became a place of correction instead of rest. My father believed he was saving me. He showed me discipline every time he thought I was drifting. Some days it was harsh words. Other days it was physical pain. He revealed frustration mixed with shame. He wanted to break what he saw as rebellion. I wanted to breathe without fear. My mother suffered quietly. She cleaned my wounds without speaking. She showed love in secret, but fear in public. She knew defending me could cost her everything. At school, the persecution followed me. Teachers treated me as a bad example. They watched my movements. They punished small mistakes. Other students mocked me. Some showed hatred. Others showed fear, as if my questions were contagious. One afternoon, I was pulled aside by community leaders. They showed seriousness. They revealed that my behavior was dangerous. They made it clear that choosing another path would mean rejection. They described consequences without mercy: loss of family, loss of safety, and loss of identity. I walked home shaking. That night, my father made a decision. He showed control by limiting my movement completely. I was no longer allowed to leave the house alone. My contact with others was cut off. My world became four walls and fear. I felt imprisoned, not by chains, but by blood ties. Food was sometimes withheld as correction. Sleep became difficult. My body hurt, but my heart hurt more. I began to feel invisible, unwanted, and broken. I wondered how love could hurt this much. Still, even in that darkness, something inside me refused to die. I remembered the calm faces I had seen. I remembered kindness without threats. I remembered love without force. Those memories became my strength when everything else was taken away. The persecution reached its peak when my father told others that I needed to be fixed. Some suggested extreme measures. Some revealed ideas that frightened me deeply. I realized then that staying could destroy me completely. I was only a child, yet I was facing adult hatred. I understood that following Jesus, even quietly, had cost me safety, family warmth, and my childhood. But turning back felt like losing my soul. This chapter ends with me standing at the edge of everything I knew, realizing that faith sometimes demands a price no child should ever have to pay. And the final step was still ahead. Some freedom does not come with celebration. It comes with tears, loss, and scars that stay with you forever. This chapter is where my suffering reached its deepest point, and where light finally broke through the darkness. I was still 12 years old, but by now, my life no longer felt like a child's life. By the time my heart fully turned toward Jesus, the persecution became serious and constant. It was no longer hidden correction or quiet punishment. It became open, harsh, and unforgiving. At home, I was treated differently. I was no longer trusted. My food was separated. My movements were watched. My father showed me rejection through distance. My mother showed me pain through tears she could not stop. They believed I had chosen shame over family. Relatives were informed. Some came to the house not to help me, but to fix me. They showed anger. They revealed threats masked as advice. They showed me fear by reminding me what happens to those who leave Islam. Their faces were hard. Their hearts felt closed. One night I was taken outside. They surrounded me. They showed pressure from every side. They revealed that my decision was dangerous. They used fear, shouting, and physical pain to force me back. I fell to the ground more than once. My body hurt, but my heart hurt more. I was locked inside a room for days. The room was dark and quiet. I was given little food, no comfort, no kindness. They believed isolation would break my will. I felt weak. I felt alone. I felt forgotten. But in that darkness, something changed. Even while suffering, I felt peace I had never known before. I felt comfort that did not come from people. I felt strength that did not match my age. I knew I was not alone, even when the door was closed. I understood then that following Jesus did not remove pain, but it gave meaning to it. Eventually, the punishment slowed, not because they accepted me, but because they grew tired. Still, the damage remained. I lost friends. I lost safety. I lost the right to be myself openly. Yet I gained something greater. I gained hope. I gained peace. I gained a new life. I learned that persecution does not mean God has left you. Sometimes it means you are walking the narrow path. My body carried scars, but my heart carried freedom. Even now, many like me suffer more than I did. Some are beaten. Some are rejected by family. Some are imprisoned. Some lose their lives, not for violence, but for belief. I encourage Christians across the world to pray for those who are persecuted for their faith. Pray for children who suffer in silence. Pray for families torn apart. Pray for strength, protection, and courage for believers in hostile places. And for anyone reading this who feels convicted and desires to turn away from sin, I encourage you to come to God with a sincere heart. You can repent by acknowledging your sins, believing in Jesus Christ, asking Him for forgiveness, and surrendering your life to Him. God sees your heart, even when no one else does. This is not just my story. It is a testimony of suffering, faith, and hope, and it is still being written.